society to the point where people are no longer capable of dealing with their own humanity. We must go to specialists. We must get direction from somebody who went specifically to school for this one particular thing. Such as like with doctors today, we no longer have general practitioners. Now we have somebody who specializes just in your feet, just in your hands, just in your eyes. But within the people, as it was always said, that whenever there is something needed, that the person will rise out of the people. And the person would rise out of the people to be the doctors of the people. And that person doesn't specialize just in eyes or feet or fingers. That person is a doctor to the people on all levels, so that when that person looks into your eyes, they can tell what is bothering you, what is troubling you mentally, what is troubling you physically. They can tell you if there is a problem with your feet, if there's a problem with your hands. But in this society, in the non-native society, the practice of dissecting humanity has led to the belief, even to right here amongst the people here, as I hear you discussing, that you are talking very with strong conviction, speaking about human rights declaration. Within our people, humans do not have rights. If you want to look in this world who has human rights, you look to the trees, you look to the grass, the water, the sky. Those things have human rights. We have responsibilities. You do not have the right to affect these things. You have the responsibility to protect those things. As we heard earlier, someone was talking about education. Imagine if you have the right to education. Who's going to give you that education? If you have the right to it, where are you going to get it? Where are you going to travel to find this education? You do not have the right. You have the responsibility. You have the responsibility to teach your children the truth. But in today's world, when you have the right to education, then your children have the equal right to the equal access of the education that everybody in this world is getting. And what's the education they are getting? They are getting education of how to dissect creation, how to destroy creation. So if you want to have the right to education, then you will be just like everybody else. But this is what we all are here to be fighting against. We have to work the confusion out of our minds. You have been living for over 2,000 years under male dominance. And under male dominance has just been a path of destruction. Destroying everything. Destroying first the women, destroying the children, emasculating the men where they can no longer protect the women or the children, where our manhood is taken away, that we can no longer provide for our children the proper life, the proper education, the proper world that we are supposed to. We are left trying to exert our rights. This is the design of man. To dissect your brain, where you will spend all day just trying to find and trying to decipher a certain law. And that, as we know, the legal world throughout the world is based on the English language. And the English language, you cannot be more corrupt than any other language in this world. The English language is the most corrupt language, designed so that you can never get to the truth. But this is the language of law throughout the world. So we allow the language of lies to be the determining factor in all the things that we do. And we abide by the laws that that language creates. We allow it to decipher to us what our rights are. And it tells you that you have human rights. Look what happens to this world when you have human rights. You do not have the right. None of you. None of us have the right. Again, you have the responsibility. Now think about that. If you have the responsibility to give your children the truth, to educate them truthfully, who are you going to trust to educate them? Are you going to send them to the universities? Are you going to send them to the elementary schools? Are you going to send them to the CEGEPs? Keep sending your children there, and you know what you're going to populate this world with? The very thing that is populating these buildings around here, the very people, the very minds that are destroying our Mother Earth. This is not our right. That is a destructive thing that we have all succumbed to. The UN Declaration of Human Rights gives us nothing. All it does is it takes away. The UN Declaration of Indigenous Rights is based on the UN Declaration of Human Rights. And I'll tell you this, as much as the world views the UN Declaration of Indigenous Rights as to be a good thing, I will tell you that it's the worst thing ever. It is worse than man-made religions. But you may think it's good. And indigenous people around the world may think it's good for one reason. Because a so-called Mohawk helped to pen that UN Declaration on Indigenous Rights. A guy called Kenneth Deere from Kahnawake, who sits in the Warrior Society, who's been in the pocket of the government all along. That UN Declaration on Indigenous Rights is no good for you, but if it is based upon the UN Declaration of Human Rights, it's no good for anybody. The UN Declaration of Indigenous Rights sounds very good to people who have their minds locked into a certain belief about law. And when you have this certain belief of law, then it sounds good because your brain once again is dissected into a million different pieces that when you're talking about this one piece, you cannot associate it with this other thing over here that is destroying you. But when you're looking at it as this one single thing over here, it appears to be a good thing. But it is destructive because it is part and parcel to the whole body. And the whole body is man-made destruction. It is what has been destroying your society for thousands of years. It has been what has been oppressing, raping, and murdering women ever since the inception of man-made religions. It is what has subdued our Mother Earth. And again, emasculated the men. Because what can you do as a man in this world to protect your children? What can you do to ensure that you can protect as a man the women? Not a damn thing, because everything in this world is ensuring that the women continue on that path of oppression. That we continue to oppress them. Even though that the women may feel that they have the freedom today. You have the freedom to decide if you're going to wear 4-inch high heels or 6-inch high heels. Or you got the freedom to decide if you're going to wear a skirt below the knee or above the knee. You have the freedom to decide all the decisions that this man-made world has given you. But not the freedom to live the way that women are supposed to live, to be free and grow, evolve the people. It is the women that evolve the people. The men do nothing in this world, as we can see, except oppress the people. And don't forget that it's the men that created these laws. It's the men that created these laws that have subdued the true power and spirit of the women. And by extension, subdued our Mother Earth. Currently in the process of having everybody in this world focusing on a million different things that is wrong. A couple of weeks ago, I was in the Occupy Wall Street the day before they shut down on a Sunday. And I walked around that whole place. To me, it was a circus. There was nobody there that I would give my time to speak to. But I happened to see two women sitting in wheelchairs. They had multiple sclerosis, and I asked them, what's your current gripe on what the government's doing, you know, this and that. And they told me the legitimate gripes, but they identified that with all the cutbacks and all of this, they identified that people like them, people with multiple sclerosis, are being found dead in their apartments.